Okay, calling to order the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for the town of Edgewood for Thursday, April 16th, 2026. And roll call. Commissioner Hutchinson.
Present.
Commissioner West.
Present.
Commissioner Reeves.
Present.
And Commissioner Rush.
Present.
And I'm Commissioner Williams. I am present. And we have our alternate commissioner, Angela.
Present.
Thank you. Do we have a notary for this? Okay, so let's see. Item number 2 is the oath of office for our alternate commissioner, Angela, but we don't have the notary on hand this evening, so we will delay that. And also, can we see if maybe we can have her sworn in during a town commission meeting? Let's maybe plan on that. If you are able to make it the next town meeting, maybe we can get that on the agenda there. That way we don't have to wait until the next planning and zoning meeting. Okay. And so Brandon will see about that. Excellent. Okay, commissioners, item number 3 is approval of agenda for tonight's meeting, April 16th.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Rush.
I motion that we move the current agenda item 7, matters of commissioners, to just before agenda item 9, matters of the staff. There may be, there's some things that I wanted to discuss that may fall out in agenda item 8 of the planning and zoning projects. And also then maybe the applicants wouldn't have to listen through matters of the commissioners as well. So I think it's a better place.
Second.
And commissioners, all in favor of moving item number 7 to be renumbered number 8. Current number 8 would be
7.
number 7. Thank you. Do we have a second?
We did
Second.
get a second.
And all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please indicate by saying nay. And the motion passes.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Rush.
I motion we approve tonight's Planning and Zoning Commission meeting agenda this day, April 16th, 2026, with the aforementioned change, making a current agenda item 8 becomes 7 and 7 becomes 8.
I'll second.
And commissioners, all in favor, please indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
And any opposed, please indicate by stating nay. Motion passes. Agenda is approved. Item number 4 is approval of the minutes for the March 19th, 2026 meeting.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Commissioner Rush, I'm sorry.
I would like to ask if Mr. Gilchrist, if has the minutes been updated from the original package you sent out? Have the minutes been changed? Because I was looking through the packet, I didn't see them, but I had comments regarding what you had sent us. Yeah. Okay. So I would like to ask what I think had occurred in the March 19th meeting. We did not approve the March 5th meeting minutes because March 5th meeting minutes, there were 3 commissioners present. Commissioner Hutchison, Commissioner West, and Commissioner Diana Williams. And so at the March 19th meeting, this gets really a tongue-tied discussion. There were only 2 commissioners from the March 5th meeting, and so therefore, I recall we tabled it until this meeting. So at this meeting, we would have to approve the March 5th meeting minutes, and we'd also have to correct the March 19th to say that they were not approved. The March 5th meeting minutes were not approved until tonight. Does that make sense? Rather confusing.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Reeves?
I remember that as well, and I think that Commissioner Rush stated that well. I know that that's confusing, but I could not approve those minutes because I wasn't at the March 5th meeting.
So we didn't have a quorum
Right.
at the March 19th meeting because only two of the commissioners from that had been at the 5th meeting, so that wasn't a quorum.
Yeah, we had a quorum for the meeting itself, but we didn't have a quorum to approve the meeting minutes
Yeah, you didn't have a quorum of the
of
commissioners
the
that had
commissioners
been
at
there.
that meeting.
Yes.
Correct, correct.
And so those meeting minutes still need to be approved, and it would have to be the three commissioners that were there that night for the March 5th meeting.
Any additional discussion, commissioners?
We don't have the March 5th meeting minutes with us, do we?
They're probably in the packet if you had it on your computer, but
Yeah.
yeah, probably don't have a printout, no.
I didn't see that in the packet.
I didn't either.
No.
No, they're not in the packet. So we could postpone the approval of those minutes to our next meeting,
You-
or delay, which would allow Manager Gilchrist to print them.
But you still have to update the March 19th meeting
Mhm.
minutes to whatever occurs.
Discussion, commissioners?
Madam Chair?
Commissioner
I
Hutchinson?
was one of the missing people on the March 19th, so I was unable to attend on that day, so I can't really confirm approval on that. So I'm out.
So commissioners, do we want to
Madam Chair?
postpone?
My suggestion is that we postpone the approval of the March 5th meeting and the March 19th meeting to the next regularly scheduled meeting in May, so that then we will have to approve 3 sets of meeting minutes. I don't think there's anything detrimental unless there's a state statute on a 3-month delay of approval on minutes.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Reeves?
I was not going to bring this up until we had matters from the commissioners, but I will not be present at the May 21st, 2026 meeting, which I can expand on when that time comes. So I wouldn't be able to approve March 19th minutes, but I think that it would be okay because there are enough to approve March 19th between you, West, and Rush. Okay.
Yes, we do have enough this evening to approve the March 19th meeting.
But we can't approve those because they require the correct wording of what has occurred to the March 5th meeting minutes.
I see what you say. I see what you're saying.
Okay.
So we would postpone to May 21st.
Yeah, because this particular one says the minutes of March 5 meeting were reviewed. We could,
Remove that.
yes,
Madam Chair,
Commissioner West.
could we remove item number 3 in there, the approval of the minutes for the March 5th meeting, and therefore it would be viable to approve the meetings for the March 19th? Excluding what happened during the March 5th meeting?
We could do a motion to approve with the exclusion of
Right.
item number 3 in the March 19 meeting.
You could, but what does that buy you? You still got to approve them, you still got to approve that
We still have to
that
approve
agenda item.
March 5, but that refers to the March 5. If we approve the March 19 meeting minutes with the
Exclusion.
exclusion of the item number 3 not being in that motion, then we could approve the 19th minutes, and then we would move on to the next one. And March 5 would move into the next meeting. Does that make sense?
It does. Either way works,
Okay.
but it's still going to be the same amount of effort.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. So commissioners, a motion?
Madam Chair,
Commissioner West?
make a motion to remove item number 3, exclude the approval of the minutes for the March 5th, 2026 meeting from the March 19th meeting minutes.
Second that. The motion needs to also say we're going to postpone the,
Yes, yes. So do you want to
Section
do
and-
so we have already had a motion, so we
To-
could go ahead and
we have to vote,
we have to vote on that motion,
on the
yes.
motion to
And
remove
then
item
we
3.
have to go and, yes, do an
And-
amendment.
And then do another motion to
Yes.
move. Okay,
Yes.
So we'll have to vote. I seconded the motion to remove.
So commissioners, at this point, I'll call for a vote to, on the motions that have been put forth. We need to do the vote on that motion first. Then we'll entertain a motion to then address the meeting minutes of March 5. Okay.
But that, isn't that item, excuse me, Madam Chair, isn't that item number 4, not 3?
Let me,
No, that would be number 3 still, because that was the approval of the agenda.
So it's,
Is number 3 or 2?
yeah.
yeah, 3 was approval of the minutes.
Yeah,
Oh, we're back on March, okay, okay.
yeah.
That's where I was getting confused.
Gotcha.
Okay. Do we have any discussion prior to calling for the vote? And this is a vote that, do we all understand what we're?
Yes.
Okay, we understand the motions? Okay. So all in favor, please indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please indicate by saying nay. Okay, that motion has been approved.
Madam Chair,
And Commissioner Rush?
I motion that we table the approval of the March 5th, 2026 Planning and Zoning meeting minutes until May 21st.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioners. Any discussion? Okay, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, please indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please indicate by saying nay.
Abstain.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Rush?
I motion that we approve the, just a second, March 19th, 2026 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting minutes with the update to agenda item 3 to approve the March 5th, 2026 meetings that has been moved to the May 2021 meeting.
Second.
Can you repeat that motion?
I motion that we approve the March 19th, 2026 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting minutes with the update to agenda item 3 that has been removed, and that will, that agenda item will be, or was for the approval of the March 5th, 2026 meeting minutes that will now be approved May 21st.
Any discussion? And did we had a second by Commissioner West
Yes.
on that. So we'll call for a vote. Commissioners, if you approve, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please indicate by saying nay. Okay, motion is approved. Now that we've addressed that, we will move into item number 5 is acknowledgement of public notice.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Rush.
I have a rather lengthy list of items to address on public notices. I guess I would begin by asking Mr. Gilchrist if there's anything that's been added to the package since that was mailed out last Friday. I think I saw in there that there were some pictures of postings, and so I have not had a chance to go through the package, so I think that was just those are some of the issues that I wanted to address. And so I think some of those have been corrected, so I just want to know what's corrected so that I'll know what to address.
Well, I think what we need to review is, first of all, the notice of public hearing. If we can take that item, the notice of public hearing that was placed in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Okay, well, okay, so I'll just go ahead and go through my list, and then,
Okay.
and then if it's in the package, you can just correct me. So I'm basing everything on what I had originally.
Yeah, there are some items in the packet that are,
Correct
Mm,
ordinance.
Okay.
yes,
So Madam Chair, beginning with the Mr. Hill application, the publication in the Santa Fe, New Mexican, in our package, we had actually three copies, but 2 of them were old for March 19th for whatever reason, so we'll just exclude those. But the one that I saw that's for April 2nd, the application, because to me, the application is actually for preliminary plat, but the posting in the paper said it was a final plat. And so it's rather confusing. I don't know how to fix that, because looking at the application, it looks like a preliminary plat. So I guess, Mr. Gilchrist, could you clarify whether the application is a preliminary plat application or a final plat application?
Commissioner, that should be a preliminary plat application.
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Gilchrist. And so I guess I will ask the commission, are we able to proceed with the application review tonight, given that it had been published incorrectly?
And I would like to add to that, that the notice of public hearing for the, let's see, for the applicant Ralph Hill as owner and agent stated that the hearing was at 6 p.m. on Thursday, March 19th, 2026, which is the wrong date.
Well, there was, I agree, but there was 3 of them. There were 3 publications listed in our package. And so I assume you just have to ignore the 2 notifications. I mean, there is that issue that was sent out and published.
Yeah, did you see one that actually had the correct date in the
Yes.
Santa Fe, New Mexican? I saw that
Yes.
the one for Telly did have the correct date.
Yeah, since all I got is electronic, but I do have one that has the correct date, but it had the wrong type of plat.
Okay.
And
Madam
so-
Chair, Sorry.
Commissioner West?
also notice that the ordinance in there is listed as 2024-17, and it should be listed as 2019-04, if I'm correct, because the 2024-17, Section 10 is agriculture zone, and it should be listed as ordinance 2019-04, Section 7A through C, and Section 10A through B.
If by chance you have your electronic copy, the first one that's listed in the electronic copy is dated for 6 p.m. Thursday, April 16th.
Okay.
I did not look at the additional details that Commissioner West had pointed out, because I felt like there was a possible no-show at that point. I will also note that it was published on the 2nd, which only gives 14 days as opposed to the 15-day requirement. I know it's difficult to get those done through the system, but we didn't meet the ordinance requirement of 15 days.
I think you did meet the 15-day requirement if the day starts on the 2nd, counting that as a day, if I counted correctly.
It was
Oh, I
published.
see. Yeah, my math is just
On the
different. Sorry. And I'm an engineer, I guess. Yeah, okay. I take that back. Yeah, the ordinance 24, I don't know what a 2417 is.
So with the public notice, the most important part of that is that we're being accurate in making sure that the public knows what it is that we are hearing, the date, the time. So what type of hearing it is, the date, the time, the location, the applicant name, and the ordinance are accurate. And if we feel that there is not the accuracy that we are required to provide, then we need to consider an option.
Yeah, I hate to postpone Mr. Hill any more. He's attempted this multiple times up to this point. I tried to gather some information to try to help make that decision, and, you know, doing some internet searches, and what I found is that why calling a final plat is a problem. A preliminary plat and a final plat are not interchangeable. A preliminary plat establishes layout and rights, often the more substantive decision point. The final plat is typically administrative and implementation. It signals things are later decidedly already. That was kind of what I found, and so I opened those statements up for review from my fellow commissioners to decide. I'm open either way. If we do decide not to proceed with this because we need better notification, I would really like to review the application, because I think it's some benefit. There's some issues that need to be addressed. I think it would be a benefit. I'd hate to wait another month for the applicant to be aware of the issues I see in the application.
We can certainly acknowledge that the public notice was not accurate enough to meet the requirements.
Well, okay, so let me give you some more information about this, because if it's a preliminary plat by our ordinance, you have to send notice to the parties via certified mail. If it's a final plat, the ordinance specifies first-class mail, and those two are different. And so I did not see in our package verification of the mailings. And so so if they weren't done certified, or since it said final and they were done first class, then that also violated ordinance. So I guess, Mr. Gilchrist, can you, did you add verification of the mailings, and did they go out certified or first class?
They did not go out certified.
Okay, so that's a second issue that would support tabling the actual decision. And Mr. Gilchrist, did you add postings of, or copies or verification of the postings? And when, you know, the signage?
To one of the packets, yes.
How about to this package?
To
Mr. Hills.
Mr. Hills, there's no photos.
Okay, so so there was no postings that went out. There was no posting. So I think by state statute, I think only requires, state statute only requires the mailing. I think our ordinance only requires the mailing and the newspaper publishing, but we do as a better business practice, we always usually do all three. So given the errors that have occurred, I would, before I say that, so there was no mail, no, the mailings were certified but not,
They did
no,
not
they were
go
first,
out.
they
were
didn't go
not
out at all.
certified
They
or
were not
first class.
certified.
Okay, they were first class?
No, they were neither one.
Oh, okay, so, you know, we have no idea what was really, we'd have no proof of, or, I think we, should postpone that, but I would like to go review it. I saw Mr. Hill, I think I saw out of the corner of my eye, maybe Mr. Hill's hand raised. Is it, I don't know that, should
And
we
Well, and I
entertain?
think we
Or
would
probably
have
not.
to go into the, hearing the application, which if we aren't able to approve that it was posted correctly, it going into the hearing would not be appropriate. So I think the best thing for that would be for Mr. Hill to work with the department on any items that may have been identified as opportunities to include documents that may not be there, or items that might be, there's error in anything at all.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Reeves?
if my memory serves, we ran into this problem in the fall of 2025. We had issue with public notice at which our legal counsel was present. And they advised to not move any further on the application because it was in the benefit of it was for the benefit of the applicant to table their application until the next month. And with that said, I really don't want to do that to Mr. Hill. I know that you've been here several times, but do you recall what I
Yes.
am referring?
Yes, I would agree.
And I
do
am
recall that.
concerned about the legalities
Yes.
of it.
Because it could be challenged, which we want to make sure that we are following the procedures accurately for the benefit of all.
And I would like to open discussion. I don't know if this is possible, but I do know that we had a special meeting recently for a complication that arose and that we wanted to address instead of making them wait till the following month. If we could schedule that in a manner that we had a quorum, I would like to discuss that with my fellow commissioners. Due to the fact that Mr. Hill has come before us with this, with this application in some manner several times for, I think, over a year. And I think that it would be great of this commission if we could work with this applicant to try to fix these mistakes, make sure that everything is locked down before it's handed to us, and that we call a special meeting to then just address this one application.
Any additional comments, questions, commissioners?
Madam Chair,
Oh, excuse me.
go ahead, Commissioner Hutchinson, please.
Commissioner Hutchinson?
How much time do we need to resend and make those corrections necessary before a hearing can be set again?
15 days.
15 days, okay, thank you.
So Madam Chair, I do recall the same advice from council, which was to not review it that night. And so I don't know how we would proceed procedurally, because we can't acknowledge
Well,
to
and
even get past this step to get to that part of the agenda.
so we probably need to look at the other notice of hearing also.
Madam Chair?
Commissioner Rush?
I agree, but we've got similar problems.
As Commissioner West pointed out, that's the wrong ordinance, I believe, that's listed in the item. It, let's see. I believe, well, the lot is correct, the lot numbers are correct, but again, I think we have items that are not accurate again, so if we are doing the delay, the postponement for one, we should postpone both to a special meeting?
I think we need to verify a few things first. So Madam Chair, I'd like to ask Mr. Gilchrist a question.
Okay.
So Mr. Gilchrist, on the Derek Smith as agent application for Fernando Telly, is that application of a preliminary plat or a final plat?
Preliminary.
Okay, so in my notes, I don't remember seeing it, but my notes say that it said final plat, so we have the same issue there. And then the same question, well, I was even further confused with that application, Mr. Gilchrist, because there was a letter that looked to me like BSN Santa Fe, who is representing as agent, that's Mr. Derek Smith. Who sent, were letters sent out, and who sent them?
Letters were sent out, and they were sent out by the agent or by the applicant.
Okay, and do you know how they were sent out, certified or first class?
I did require them to also send me one of those letters, and mine did not come first class or certified.
Okay, so I say we have to postpone this one as
Same-
well.
Same issue, yes.
Okay, so how do we proceed past this agenda item at this point?
So we would entertain a motion to postpone both items number, bear with me just a moment. Items number, agenda items number 7,
Yes,
because we renumbered, for the subdivision applicant Ralph Hill and subdivision application for Derek Smith to the most appropriate special meeting time that follows
okay.
the timeline requirements. And also, we cannot acknowledge the correctness of the public notice. We would,
So that was my question, is how do we how do we deal with that?
so,
It's an acknowledgement, and so do we just say we can't acknowledge that and then go on? And so we
Yes.
just you just verify
because it's not a
that?
motion that we're acknowledging, it's
So
an
you just check
acknowledgement.
whether we do or do not, and we could all
Right.
just say we do not. So, okay, do
Right.
you want to proceed with that then?
Okay. Any questions before we proceed, commissioners?
So the issues we're looking at is the listing for the preliminary plat is listed, and it's not a final plat, is one. The wrong ordinance is listed in the certified letters, is that correct?
The letters did not go certified.
Correct.
And Mr. West, the publishing said final plat as opposed to preliminary.
Right.
Okay, just make sure that you knew.
Yes, yeah. So I will start with Commissioner Hutchinson. Acknowledgement of public notice for both subdivision applications for Ralph Hill and Derek Smith.
What
So you
form
would
of
not, you would not be able to acknowledge.
That's a negative.
Correct.
I always get confused on how to
Yes.
state that.
Yes, yes.
So,
You could just say that you're not acknowledging the public notice, so you, due to errors?
thank you. I cannot acknowledge the public notices were sent out in the acceptable form.
Thank you, Commissioner West.
I cannot acknowledge the public notice due to the fact of the errors. They need to be certified letters was one of the issues. It is listed as a final plat, and this is a preliminary plat. And also the ROG ordinance is listed on the both applications.
Commissioner Reeves.
I cannot acknowledge public notice of Mr. Hill's application or Mr. Smith's application this evening for the same reasons as mentioned by Commissioner West.
And Commissioner Rush?
I cannot acknowledge the public notices for the Ralph Hill or the Derek Smith as agent applications due to the errors discussed so far.
And I, as Commissioner Williams, cannot acknowledge the public notice for the subdivision applications of Ralph Hill and Derek Smith due to the errors we've identified in both subdivision application public notices. So we're going to move on to item number 6, which is general public comment. And this is an opportunity for the public to make general comments, not comments based on the items that were going to be heard this evening, but general public comments. So we invite anyone that wishes to make a general public comment, please come up to the podium, state your name and address, and
I signed up on the sign-up sheet for public comment. My
your-
name is
and-
Mark Mall.
thank you.
I live in San Pedro Creek. I am not a resident of Edgewood, but I am a resident of the East Mountain community, and Edgewood is a big piece of the East Mountain community, and that's why you see my smiling face here so frequently. I really appreciate what you just went through, because I had a concern with this evening's meeting, because I looked to make sure I came at the correct time, and there was no public notice that there was going to be a workshop to cover, or that I saw, to cover the subdivision ordinance, okay, and changes that should be made to that.
I
There-
can address that for you, Mr. Mull. It was a training session and not a workshop.
Not a workshop? Okay.
Correct.
We
Okay.
should make
And
it-
maybe,
Thank
maybe
you.
there's a difference in
There
whether you
is.
have to file a public
There
notice
is.
for training workshops or not.
Yes,
The
thank
other
you.
thing that was missing from the packet was the, excuse me, March 19th meeting minutes. And I was not able to attend that meeting, and I was very concerned about that meeting, because one of the things that is on the, was on the agenda for that meeting were Article 6 of the subdivision ordinance. And I'd like to point out that there have been, since Edgewood was first incorporated, there have been 5 different subdivision ordinances that have come out. The first one brought up a subject called a minor subdivision that has not been repeated or affirmed in subsequent ordinances. And I will give you an example. There was a very good description in ordinance 2014-03 of minor subdivisions and the process for filing for a minor subdivision. And then in the minutes of, or in, attached to what's on the website, this subdivision, ordinance number 2014-03, has been rescinded as of August 16th, 2017. And there has been some movement afoot to go back and use the 1999 version of the subdivision ordinance, because it also talks about minor subdivisions in a very restrictive sense. I'd also like to say that I appreciate your looking into the procedures that are required. Many of you may recall that in September of 2021, Campbell Farming came to planning and zoning, and at that time, it was a town council. It was not a town, what's the right word, a commission, or town commissioners. And the planning and zoning and the town council at that time voted in favor of the amendments to the Campbell Ranch Master Plan.
And I'm going to have to ask you to refrain from talking about,
I'm trying to provide a historical example of why it's so important to follow all of the procedures.
and if you can make it a more of a generalized, rather than putting the name of one of the,
Okay.
that would be great.
Okay.
I think your statement
An
was just-
entity,
I
Thank
think your
you.
statement was complete, that we followed procedures.
yes.
If that helps.
Because what happened was the commission approved it, or the council approved it, planning and zoning at that time approved it. Residents in Edgewood filed a complaint with the Attorney General for not having followed Open Meetings Act requirements as well. And what happened was the whole project died at that point in time because procedures
Procedural.
were not followed. So those are my comments. I appreciate that you're looking at that stuff because it gets to be sticky, and people that maybe don't want to object to something end up objecting to it anyway. Thanks for listening to me.
Thank you. We love to have, that's one thing I believe that we are all really cautious of is our procedures. We're really trying to ensure that our procedures are where they need to be per our ordinances and also state statutes. So, gentlemen, yes.
Hi, my name is John Ahrens, and I'm at 26 Half Moon Road here in Edgewood. And I just, there are a number of us here. There was a sign posted about a subdivision that was going to be happening in our neighborhood. And so I tried to do some research. I believe we are zoned R1.
And because it may not have been, it may not have come before us yet, we would have to ask you to not address the commission about a particular zoning request, because then we would have ex parte communication and conflict of interest. And so the best thing for you, sir, is to address those questions directly to the Planning and Zoning Department rather than the commission.
Can I get clarification? Just, we are zoned R1 in that area.
That would be for the Planning and Zoning Manager to answer.
Okay, and then I was looking at zoning ordinance 2023-007, and just to make sure I understand what I'm reading, I'm looking in section 11C4 that says mobile homes provided, however, their mobile homes are listed under conditional uses. Mobile homes, comma, provided, however, that the use of any manufactured home as a secondary or accessory dwelling to the site-built primary dwelling shall be limited to a period not to exceed 1 year unless an extension of time is granted. So the term, I need clarification, what is site-built primary dwelling? As
So,
opposed to manufactured or
Madam Chair?
mobile?
Commissioner Rush.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch your last name?
Ahrens,
Mr. Ahrens?
yes.
I think, I'm going to try to connect a few dots. I think you've seen a posted sign, which means there's an application that's gone up I don't know what application that is. We as commissioners during the commission meeting can't have a back and forth discussion about the ordinances, and I apologize for that. So I think what Commissioner Williams had advised before is to talk to the Planning and Zoning Commission, or to the Planning and Zoning Department. They can answer your questions. I think there's probably going to be a application that's going to occur. There will be a public hearing, and if you're an affected party, then you can discuss and talk to us at that time. Does that help? Not-
So I can just go to planning and zoning and
Yes.
get the definitions of the terms and things
Yes,
like that?
then they'll spend time clarifying all
And
that with you.
Okay,
We have our planning and zoning manager, Brandon Gilchrist, here this
Mhm.
evening, so that way you'll know who he is.
Mhm.
And their department is open Monday through Friday for you to
okay,
ask those questions, yes, and get some clarification.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Hi, my name is Curtis Benz. I live on Evening Star Loop. And in this question of this sign that was posted, I've tried to watch your last meeting on YouTube, and there's like no sound through the first half of it. It's just not there. I'm walking around with listening, and finally, by the end of it, the sound had been turned up just enough to hear some of the interaction. So if you have any control over what's being recorded on YouTube, please do it correctly. The meeting, I've watched the meeting, the city council meeting from this location, and it was filmed here, and it was perfect. You know, the sound on it was great. So somebody's just not doing something left me with the impression of, what are they trying to hide, that they don't want anybody to hear anything?
Thank you.
Mr. Benz, Madam Chair?
Commissioner Rush?
I had a little bit of feedback on that for you that I thought would be kind to give you. I did talk to the person that actually conducted that meeting that night, and there's just been some new equipment that they added, and it was just simply a mistake. And so hopefully because I would have liked to have heard that audio also, so I went back to review some information. So understand your frustration. And
Any way for them to edit it?
not at this point. It was just it was just an error that occurred that night.
We definitely apologize. I know that there are, and maybe Adam can answer this question. During the meetings, there is an opportunity on YouTube to chat. Is there anyone that monitors that chat during the meeting?
Most often, no. When we broadcast the meeting, we're simultaneously recording the meeting. We're making sure that the audio is working here. We're making sure that you can see what's on the projector. And we're making sure that the live stream is also going out accurately. With that night, there was a technical error, of course, at a very unfortunate time. I can agree with you there. But we did change and improve our equipment, so we'll have better capacity, and we're constantly working, frankly, with what we have to make the best streams that we can. So.
Thank you, Adam. Appreciate your input on that. Anyone else with a general comment? Okay, we'll close the comment section of tonight's meeting. And we will move to item number 7, which is the planning and zoning projects.
Madam Chair?
Chair recognizes Commissioner Rush.
I know there's a little bit of turmoil tonight, and so I think it might be a good reminder that we probably ought to make our comments regarding conflict of interest to make sure that our I's are dotted and T's are crossed.
We can do that. Were we going to have a motion with regard to item number,
8A and 8B, or, yes.
actually, it's now 7.
7A,
Item
yes.
number 7.
We'll make a motion to postpone.
Yes.
So since we're doing that, should we?
well, because we're not going into hearing, we don't need to go into the ex parte communication piece of it.
Okay,
That's generally at the beginning of the hearing.
I was just trying to be
I know.
helpful just in case.
I know. But I think if we have an emotion with regard to that item number 7, then that makes that particular point not needed.
Okay,
The motion would be to remove,
Postpone.
postpone.
is postponed the correct
Madam
word or
Chair.
tabled?
Commissioner Hutchinson.
Would the motion from the public notices cover the postpone of this?
I don't believe so. I think we need to make a motion to actually postpone the hearings on these 2 items. We did not, we were not able to acknowledge that the public notice was accurate, but now we're on a different
Okay.
agenda item.
Understood.
So we would need a motion on this agenda item.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Hutchinson.
I would like to motion that item number 7, planning and zoning projects, sub-item subdivision application Ralph Hill, A, and B, subdivision application Derek Smith, be postponed to the next regularly scheduled correction. Are we going to have a special
I
hearing?
think we're in agreement that we try to have a special.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Reeves.
could we state that motion to say postpone to the next regularly scheduled meeting, or if a special meeting can be created?
Correct, okay.
Because schedules, there's a lot of planning that goes into that. And Madam Chair, could I please ask for the extra chatter to quiet so that I can hear motions? Because we are still doing some business up here and we're still in meeting, and I need to be able to hear my fellow commissioners. I apologize.
This is a quasi judicial hearing, so, thank you. Okay, so may I please restate?
Commissioner Hutchinson.
Okay, I would like to propose a motion to postpone the hearings of item number 7, planning and zoning projects, sub-item A, subdivision application for Ralph Hill, subdivision B, Derek Smith, to the next regularly scheduled hearing, or a special hearing pending scheduling.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion, commissioners? Okay, with no discussion, we'll call for vote. All commissioners in favor, please please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any commissioners that are opposed, please indicate by saying nay. Motion carries. Okay, so now, item number 8 is matters of the commissioners. Let's see. So, I'm Commissioner Williams, and I do have one item that I've also been discussing with Brandon Gilchrist with regard to some planning and zoning commissioner training. I was able to find the agenda for the Silver City training, which I'll provide to the commissioners. I believe the agenda was most recently posted. And so with the items that they are showing on here, Manager Gilchrist and I had talked about possibly seeing if we could have Brennan Williams, who is linked to the Municipal League, to see if he was able to do training for the Edgewood commissioners due to maybe an urgency of time, and also scheduling with Silver City. And I also want to add in there the cost to go to Silver City for commissioners to attend the semi-annual meeting that's scheduled for May 12 to 14. In looking at this is again a draft of the program. Some of the items on here don't necessarily, they're not in our realm. And so I felt that I wanted to talk with my fellow commissioners on this, because if there are items that are not within our realm, do we find that this is maybe a cost that we can avoid for the town and have Brendan Williams do his 2-hour presentation, which he's willing to do. He did, we did have email back and forth, which Mr. Gilchrist was copied on. And he could do a 2-hour session with his packet that is very informative for planning and zoning commissioners. And he's willing to do that. We just haven't scheduled the time yet. So I wanted to bring forth that as an item from the commissioner.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Reeves.
I cannot speak to whether this commission should go to Silver City or not. I've already stated I can't attend at that time. However, I am all for that gentleman coming and doing his training. The time or two that I've heard him speak, it's extremely beneficial. He's a wealth of knowledge, and I would love to see that come to fruition.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Rush.
I agree with Commissioner Reeves. And I'd also like to say, so I would like to remove my request to go to that meeting. And I would still be interested in the fall meeting, depending upon the content. And we'll discuss that at that time as needed. So I support what has been discussed.
Madam Chair, thank you for having those emails and trying to bring him here. I really appreciate that.
We didn't have the agenda until very recently, and then when I looked at it, I think I pulled it yesterday. There are several items that just really don't pertain to us.
Correct.
However, this is the meeting that normally Brennan would do something at, so, and it's so wonderful that he's willing to do this for just the commissioners of Edgewood, and also our new one. And so I guess if you guys all agree, then we'll move forward with scheduling with Brennan. Brandon and I will schedule with Brennan and figure out the logistics of that.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
Because he's phenomenal, and to your point, he's a wealth of knowledge.
He really is.
Yes. And it would
Madam Chair?
be, yes, Commissioner Hutchinson.
In the conversation with Mr. Williams, did he offer to do the training for us? Would that be, this particular training as a 3-day training?
His training is a 2-hour. He sent the deck, the actual PowerPoint deck,
Okay.
in the email, and his training is a 2-hour training.
Okay.
So
that's
it doesn't.
significantly less amount of time.
Significantly less, and I just have to say, like on this particular agenda from the New Mexico League of Zoning Officials, there's a Narcan training, illegal dumping programs, auto dismantler, illegal junkyards, a case study. And I didn't feel that those were appropriate to our roles. And that it's a 3-day session. And if, Brandon can do the part that particularly applies to us is phenomenal that Brandon has done in the past, and if you can do it 2 hours, we can save the cost of this particular meeting and still get what we need in training done. And I think it would be nice to have some actual, just very small group, one-on-one with
very
Brendan
much so.
Williams too.
Yeah.
And that would also give Manager Gilchrist the opportunity to meet him. He's wealth of knowledge, and he's been several roles for many, many years. So,
Madam Chair,
Commissioner
I don't know, and you can determine whether this is appropriate or not. I don't know. I'm just talking. But would it be beneficial for the governing body to attend that training with us and just have a joint training session with, his name just went out of my head. Brennan. Yes, with Brennan Williams. And maybe it would just benefit everyone in general.
Manager Gilchrist.
Commissioners, that is already in conversation with the town commissioners to join that meeting already.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
That's
Thank you.
fabulous.
Thank you.
for including that and thinking of that. That's awesome. Okay. All right, so between you and I, we'll figure out the other pieces and logistics of that. Wonderful. Okay, that's all I had. Commissioner Reeves.
Well, I've already kind of outed myself here. I cannot attend the May meeting for the 21st. I will be celebrating my sweet daughter who's graduating high school, and I need to attend those functions for her, so I will not be here for May 21st. Know that I say this with kindness. I really want to, and I know you do too, I really want to try to avoid the mistakes that were made tonight, because we were having those mistakes previously for whatever reasons. The reasons do not matter, but the mistakes were being made, and I have to mind my words because I don't want to speak to an application, but I just really would like to avoid that in the future, because I think that just to not make anyone, it doesn't matter specific applicants, but just to not make anyone have to wait for a whole nother 15-day period. I just think it's a better look not to. So, and I say that with a lot of kindness. Okay, I don't have anything else.
Thank you. Commissioner West.
I'm going to pick on Mr. Torres in the audience here, who's obviously in charge of EPCOR Water. It'd be something I'd be interested in hearing about is the application process of how the water is distributed, not distributed, but how the application letters are applied, and in what manner in which you're granting authority for those water rights, not water rights, but water access to the property. I just would like to, maybe you could speak to the commission at some point about that. Right. The will serve letters, kind of the process behind that.
If the commissioners don't have any objection.
I think it'd be great.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Torres.
Put you on the hot seat there.
Tom Torres with EPCOR, manager of EPCOR Water. So the request for water service coincides when an applicant comes before the town to file for an application for a plat. And we have a very formal process, online by the way, that goes directly to our development services team. They'll submit the same information to us that they do with the town.
Good.
And then we basically verify that they're within our service area, and we draft a will serve letter, which is consistent with all of them. There's nothing different, and basically outlines the requirements of them proceeding forward. The will serve letter basically satisfies the first step for an applicant to get a plat. And then after they get a plat, they come back to us and we work out a line extension agreement that works out all of the details of the infrastructure and water rights. And we don't want that to become before or during the plat approval process, because it's rather detailed and cumbersome. And it has to do with engineer to engineer conversations. But we do have a development guide that lays out all the specifics, requirements for that subdivision. And on water rights, we do have a 40-year plan. We have plenty of water right dedicated to the town of Edgewood. So that's not going to come into question. Really, where the subdivision lies within the infrastructure, what's required, what it's going to cost the developer, that's really what's being figured out and answered. They very well could go through the subdivision process and realize that it's just going to be cost prohibitive to design at that time or develop at that time.
Gotcha. I appreciate you taking the time to
Yep.
explain that.
But it's all online, and in fact, I would like to get our information on the town site on the process so that an applicant doesn't have to, go all
Jump
over the
back and
place to
forth.
find it, yeah.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Rush.
I'd like to ask Mr. Torres, or I'd like to say to Mr. Torres, to say thank you for updating the well-served letter, because there was a statement in there that previously said, the way I would always read it, that they had to go get water rights. And so you guys updated that letter, and I greatly appreciate you guys taking care of that.
You bet. Thank you.
That's all I have.
That's all. And Commissioner Rush.
Madam Chair, I've got several things I would like to talk about. First, I would like to say that I will not be here for the April 23rd meeting. And then in my following comments, I just want to make sure that they're not meant to offend anyone, and I provide them so that we may be more effective. And so with that, I highly recommend that in our agenda, that our style, that we revert back to the format that we used, and the format that I'm specifically referring to is the format that would include a paragraph with the applicant, the agent, what the request is, the property info, the parcel number, acreage, and what the zoning is, because that was very effective for me to just see that all in one place. And so what I've seen in this previous packet, I had to really search for information, and the information I was looking for, I didn't find it. I missed it in some places, but I didn't find it until I saw it in the newspaper article. So I like that format better. It's more informative and more effective for me. Also, I would ask to reinstate the process steps that we also had after that paragraph, because I think it helps us follow that. And I think, there's like A through H of those steps. So it'd be helpful for me to add those back. It would also, and I think it would also be helpful that each application is its own agenda item number. I mean, I understand, the format and what you're trying to do, and I really appreciate trying to improve it, but I think it works out to be more effective to have each application has its own agenda item. And so going forth, I also saw in the packet that's applied to us, and I don't know who fills it out, whether or not it's somebody in the planning and zoning department, but it was using the words major and minor, and at this time, there's no such thing as major and minor in any of our ordinances or in Edgewood, and so there's no definition of those, and so I think it's a bit premature at this point to use those. And so I would recommend at this point to remove, because I don't think that until we update the subdivision ordinance, I think that it's confusing. And then I would like to say on public notices, for me, I always think of public notices in the three items. There's the publishing, there's the notice of letters, and or I call them mailings, and then the actual postings of the signage. And so you always think of three, and so I say that in hopes that would help make sure that we have all three of those done. And I guess while I'm on that subject, I'd like to ask, is it, Mr. Gilchrist, is it, and if the commissioners know the answer, is it okay to have the applicant do the mailings for the department, or is that problematic?
No, in our ordinance, it states that they just need to go out. It doesn't state who needs to send them, so it can be either the town or the applicant. We put it on the applicant because it does cost us money to certify the mail and send it out, and
they're responsible for that. I mean, I think they're responsible for the cost anyway. I think that's spelled out in the ordinance, at least it may not be consistent against the preliminary and the final, but I do remember seeing that somewhere in there. But then we'll all, if, and I don't have a problem with that as long as it's, there's no statute that we're violating. But, and I didn't even realize this until yesterday, that the preliminary plat requirement is certified mail, and then the final is first class. I don't even know why they would be different. But we'll have to pay attention to that until we get those ordinances changed, obviously, right? So thank you for the answer. I guess also, we've had issues in the past, and it was in with all of our applications, but I'd like to see that in our packets. I'm having a hard time when my documents that I read electronically aren't legible. Understand that the plats can be problematic because they're large, but a lot of the, we need, we have, in recent years, and from what I understand in the real estate market, proof of ownership of land is getting to be a very big issue. And so previously we made that an issue, and so we need to make sure that we have a proof of ownership in the packets, that it's very clear that, and sometimes it's complicated because you've got an owner, or you got an LLC, or you have a pastor. Each one of those is different. But when I'm looking at the application, and especially even like the Santa Fe County Tax Partial Viewer, if I enter in the address or if I enter in the parcel number, I expect that to show, because that's what I've always seen. I expect it to select the entire area that's included in the plat. And so when I look at the ownership document, I'm looking for that that address to show up in those ownership documents. And if I don't see that, then I suspect that that's not a complete document and proof of ownership. So I mean, that's kind of what I key off of, but I'm willing to learn otherwise. But I take it to heart to make sure that we're looking at proper ownership. And then also within ownership, we have to make sure that the agent is authorized, and the same for a trustee of a trust. And so you have to have the trust document that says this, if the owner of the land is a trust, then the document needs to include a document that says the trustee is this person, right? And so those are the things that I'm looking for. And I bring these things up because these are the things that we've had problems with, in these past applications that we need to resolve. And then the next thing is the plats. They continue to be non-ordinance compliant. They're missing addresses of the simple things. Missing the address of the applicant or the agent that needs to be. They're just following the either Section 7 or Section 10 of the ordinance. And then what I would say is I do understand that applicants may not be very cooperative in following what the requirements are. And so in defense of, the staff, I think what I would do is if you can't get the compliant information, then in the staff report, you would just tell us that had been, that item had been requested and it was not, the applicant didn't supply it. So then that tells us, that it's the applicant's fault, and then, then they have to bury that, carry that burden. So I think that's a useful and valid piece of information included in the staff report. So in speaking about staff reports, I thought we had decided to include staff reports in the meeting packet. We didn't have them in this one. Was my memory wrong, or what's the future plan? So I thought I'd bring that issue up, and if anybody could comment on that, I'd appreciate it, and that's my last comment.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Hutchinson.
I'd like to piggyback off of Commissioner Rush's comment, but I believe that Manager Gilchrist is implementing an online platform for these submissions I don't know the time frame. Sure, it's a ways out. However, that could help in incomplete applications, whereas they cannot continue to the next step until all items are addressed. So that's it.
Any additional items, Commissioner Rush?
I was just curious if anybody had a comment on what did we decide on for staff reports? Were they?
Commissioner, I think what it was that I presented a staff report to you. You didn't like it. You had comments on it. And so I went back to the drawing board, and what was decided was I would come up with a new staff report layout for you guys, and we would decide on it in a training.
Okay.
So then, were we not going to see staff reports until we had that training?
I don't think there
Because I
was,
was looking for that as well in my packet when preparing for tonight's meeting.
no, I didn't plan on it. I didn't anticipate doing a staff report because I didn't want to change it every single time.
So going forward, what do we want to do?
I mean, I can do a staff report. That's no problem. It's just a matter of what you guys want on that staff report because every staff report is different and every project's different. And so the previous staff reports were not detailed enough and they were very vague and didn't provide like recommendation or the planning manager's thought process on it. And so I felt like going forward, it needs to be more, like everything else in my department needs to be more detailed, more information, and less vague. And so that's why I initially brought up the first format of the staff report, which was not liked by Mr. Rush. And so I went back to the drawing board, and now that we have all of our training dates set out, I anticipated on rolling it out that way.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Reeves?
I think I would run the risk of frustrating Mr. Rush by using the staff report that he questioned and having that in our packet until we had our training and we could come to an agreement on this topic. Would that be okay? Would you be okay with that, Commissioner Rush?
That would be
teasing
fine.
you,
No, that's fine.
But I
love
would
you too.
like I would like to see some sort of staff report in my packet for regularly scheduled meetings.
I would agree.
I also like the attention to detail, so I'm okay with that.
Okay.
So until the format is finalized, I guess, with everyone involved, just go ahead and continue doing the one that you did previously.
Okay.
Yeah. So that we have something, I guess. Okay,
I have nothing further.
okay. Commissioner Hutchinson?
I have nothing further.
And,
Can I ask a question, Madam Chair? Sorry. Just kind of going back to the issue of public notice. Please stop me if my memory is incorrect, but I remember seeing confirmation of the letter that was sent out and the names of the people that it was sent to. So if we are now requiring, because before this office was mailing those letters, and I understand that that takes something off your plate to put it on the applicant, and I am okay with either way. I'm not saying either way, but I'd like to see who was notified, because sometimes, did I miss that?
it's in one.
Okay, I apologize,
In
and
one.
I pull back my comment.
No, but it wasn't in both.
Okay,
It was
I-
in one.
okay, all right, very good.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Hutchinson?
I wanted to, and I'm sure you're familiar with this, Manager Gilchrist, but in my dealings with planning and zoning in other municipalities, the city of Albuquerque, those matters, it is the responsibility of the applicant to, or agent, to submit their certified letters and to also scan those certifications and submit it back to planning and zoning for verification as to who those went out to. Now, the addresses were always provided by planning and zoning to the applicant on who needed to be identified. I don't know how that works in Edgewood's Planning and Zoning Department. However, if we're going to transition to the responsibility laying on the applicant, and that's basically cost of doing business, cost of developing, those are all costs that are typically on the person making the request. It's no different than a permit application fee. So I'm just giving you an example of how I've been dealing with that either as an applicant or an agent in other municipalities or cities. That's an acceptable practice.
I don't believe our ordinance list that we would require them to provide that. We'd have to have some legal, maybe.
Yeah, it could have to
Feedback
come with
on
some new
that.
language. And again, Mr. Gilchrist, with the details, everything, a lot of things were very vague, not very clear. So now would be an opportunity to expand that process.
As we go through the subdivision ordinance,
Correct.
yeah, or zoning. Okay. All right. Okay, let's see, so let's move on to matters from staff.
Commissioners, I think I don't really have much. I would like to respond to Mr. Rush's statement regarding, I forget the topic. I don't know, he said a lot.
So there was, if maybe I can help real quick, there's the reverting the, going back on the agenda. There was the comment about major and minor, there's the comment about public notices, and then there was the discussion about complete applications.
No, it wasn't any of those.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Nothing really much for me. The new code enforcement officer started 2 weeks ago. So he's been going through training. The Commissioner Hutchinson is right. So the packets will look a lot different, and you will receive them a lot different. We are going to an online system as of June. And we're using a software called Cloud Permit. And so the way that works is you guys will get, I don't know if it's like a link or like a profile. And then once, as applicants upload their documents, when it's complete, you'll receive the full document. And so we have it to where, we're working on it to where certain things are required in order for them to move on to the next step. So that is in the works, and that's probably why the new application looks different. It's because we redid all the applications that are going to be on the online system as well. I remember now what Mr. Rush said that made me trigger. The warranty deed. So it is required that every applicant provides a warranty deed, and both applicants tonight did have a warranty deed. So I'm not sure what more you would want for verification. And then also the address on the Santa Fe County taxes parcel versus what the applicant gives, or also the warranty deed, don't always align. And it's because the Santa Fe County tax parcel isn't always up to date. And so you have to go based off of what the warranty deed is, because that's the most updated document, not the website.
I'm trying to phrase my words correctly. I mean, that's always the process, you know, you can only get what you get, whether it's readable or not, and whether or not it has information on there that we can actually verify that they're owner of that property. And so I've seen some deeds, especially ones that have had errors or maybe even corrected. I wasn't able to find anything that I could prove to myself and convince myself that it was the appropriate deed. And so, you know, that could have just been on me, that I didn't know any better how to interpret the deed and didn't find the correct information. But, you know, so that's the reason why we have you here, to help us, you know, define that. So.
Is there anything else that would help you with the warranty deed? Maybe like a letter, or I'm not sure what would be better than a warranty deed, because I can't control the condition that the warranty deeds come in.
Right.
And they're always a copy of a copy of a copy. So by the time I make a copy for all of you, it's not readable. So I'm not sure what the proper protocol will be for that, or what you guys would prefer in that instance.
Well, I think you have the same task that we do. You've got to look at the warranty deed and say, okay, does this demonstrate this person owns it or has the authority to do this action? You know, and if you're convinced that they do, well, then you're willing to try to, you know, to convince us. But what I've seen, I don't see that information on there. And again, it could just be my interpretation. I can't find the appropriate information. And so I realize that you've looked at it, you've been convinced, so then you should be able to convince us.
Yeah, and so I will say that some of the warranty deeds are incorrect, and so they do come with attachments that correct the warranty deed. So I don't know if you look at those documents as well, because it usually comes with like an amendment, or I forget the other word they use, but it usually comes with like a letter or a statement correcting the warranty deed and letting whoever's looking at it know that it was a mistake. Like there was one tonight that didn't have the parcel number on it or the address on it, and so the warranty deed was empty, but then they attached the proper documents proving that the warranty deed was indeed belonging to that individual for that specific property in that address.
Yeah, and in those cases, we need to be able to connect the dots from what's on the application and then what's on the deed, right? Yeah, I guess that's all I can say as far as that particular situation.
Anything else from staff?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Let's see, we've got the calendar update, training session on Thursday, April 23rd at 5 p.m. Do we have a kind of a draft of what the training is going to be on that particular day?
Yes, so that day we will go through the subdivision ordinance and also introduce a new staff report layout.
Okay.
Is that going to be recorded?
It's
probably
a
not.
workshop, so yes.
Okay. Madam Chair, I neglected to say earlier, Mr. Manager Gilchrist already knows, but I am also unable to attend the 23rd.
Okay. And then we have Thursday, May 7th also. Maybe too far in the future for you to tell us what that's going to be on, or do you already know what the May 7th training session is going to include?
I anticipated on going over the landscape ordinance with you guys, but that depends on how far we get with the subdivision ordinance.
Okay.
I'm trying to be flexible.
And you will communicate with us about if or when a special session might be called?
Yes.
Okay, because I was already looking at calendar items and counting days.
Yeah, so I will look at it. It would still need to be, I would need to give the applicants enough time to redo their mailings. And so I will be in touch with them tomorrow to figure out that situation.
Will you reach out to us before you put that in solidified scheduling?
Yeah, so
Please?
my thought process was to reach out to the applicants tomorrow and Monday to figure out how much time they needed to figure out their mailing, and then just count 15 plus 1 days from that, and then just kind of go for that Thursday, and then send that out to everyone and ask them if that Thursday works.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
And then just as a reminder, if we can get Angela scheduled in a town commission meeting for her oath of office prior to that, because we will have 2 commissioners that aren't going to be here.
Yes, I will reach out to Misty, who does the town commission meetings, to see if we can put her on the schedule for next week's meeting.
Okay, that'd be great, yeah, because we will most likely need to have her at that meeting.
On a helpful note, sometimes it's easy to overlook, but make sure we get a picture of that oath of office.
Yes, agreed.
You can do that.
With all the children. Madam Chair, just on going back to scheduling, I know I said I had a lot going on in May, but literally the only Thursday in May is the 21st that I can't be here. So should something happen on another Thursday, scratch that. It's the last, I'm looking at the wrong thing. The 21st and the 28th, but should something happen by the 7th and the 14th, it's possible, okay?
Mr. Gilchrist,
Yes.
are you going to go to the New Mexico League conference?
Am I going?
Yes.
No, I'm not going. I can't go. There's no one in my department yet.
I was just asking that just because the 14th was a.
And that's the start of the
Yeah.
conference, yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a good thought.
Yeah, yeah, that's the start of the conference.
Is
Okay.
anybody else going to that?
No, that's the
Okay.
one we decided that we
Right,
would
but it
have
was just making sure,
Yeah.
everybody, okay. All right,
Yeah,
I'm
I
done,
think we'd find
sorry.
option rather than that, so. Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn
Make a motion to adjourn.
in a second?
Second?
All in favor, please
Aye.
indicate by
Aye.
saying aye.
Aye.
Aye.